can we move into let's say the food service industry at large, and how do you see this growing or declining in the next months? I mean, what is the belief that is going to happen in a, let's say, in a more macroeconomic situation?
I mean, this is a very difficult question because the consumer is acting so differently than what we could predict a year ago. To predict what will happen in the next year remains very, very difficult. But I would insist on what I said. With what we know now, the consumer probably will not cut down more on eating out. So we don't predict massive growth, but we predict in general terms and for Europe stability. With a little bit of upside coming from inflation. The consumer has got a bit more used to higher prices. They don't translate inflation in 100% into what they spend. It's very simple to understand. We are consumers, all of us. So if you have a certain budget for going out and everything is more expensive, let's say you may increase it by 5%, but if inflation is 10%, 15%, you will not probably keep all the same attitude, but you will cut down what we mentioned, perhaps a bit less of visits, less frequently, or when you go out, trade for a cheaper wine, or perhaps skip the dessert or the starter. So these kind of strategies will continue, but because we are in many cases not fully back at 2019 level, the downside from where we are now is very limited. What we may not see is the further recovery at the same pace that we were expecting to see a year ago, because of the war has triggered the inflation and has made consumers in Europe slightly poorer. And at the same time, they want to go on holiday. I sound like a joke, but this is a reality. Consumers are cutting down their daily expenses a little bit to see if they can manage to go on holidays a bit more. So where do I see the food service industry in the next 6-12 months? As an industry, well, with very moderate growth, but I don't foresee a contraction from the current cruising speed. Of course, there is seasonality, but I mean, neutralizing seasonality, slightly better, but not necessarily significant growth.